Hello and welcome into the latest edition of ESPN FC. Kay Murray and Stevie Nicol here in the studio, and we're actually going to start tonight by talking about everything that happened with PSG's game against Real Sociedad, because L'Équipe this morning telling everybody about the unblocker, Mbappe breaking the deadlock in the second half, helping his side on their way to that 2-0 win. So all smooth sailing in Paris. Things looking great.
Sound a bit sarcastic.
Yeah, I'm being a bit sarcastic because then came the news this morning that not only has he decided to leave PSG, which obviously Julien Laurens told us about 10 days ago, he's actually informed the PSG president of this news. So we're covering all angles tonight. We've got Frank in Paris, we've got Julien Laurens, who was at the game for PSG against Real Sociedad, and we've got Alex Kirkland from Madrid as well. So we'll start with you then, Jules. Tell us the latest developments in this drama.
Yeah, well, we were told today that on Tuesday, Kylian Mbappe announced his decision to leave PSG at the end of the season to Nasser Al-Khelaifi, the PSG president, to the owners as well. Personally, he did it on Tuesday. So before the Real Sociedad game, we kind of knew even 10 days ago when we broke the story about him deciding to leave, that the announcement to the club, certainly not officially to the rest of the world, but certainly personally to the club, would arrive pretty quickly after the news starting breaking, and it was done on Tuesday. I think PSG expected the news anyway. They knew it, but it's always good to hear it directly from the player himself. So now, before there's an official announcement publicly, they will need to sort out a few things. There's a contract. Even if Mbappe is a free agent at the end of his current contract, there's still a lot of things to sort out in terms of the bonuses that he's waiving off. There's quite a lot of details. So I think it will take a bit more time now to have an official statement from Kylian and the club, like a joint one, to announce the separation, if you want, at the end of the season. But the first step was always to let PSG know first, and that's what he did on Tuesday.
So where's he going, Jules?
Well, I think we all know what his preference is. He wants to go to Madrid. Madrid want him. There has been no agreement yet. There's a contract offer on the table. They will need to discuss a lot of things, including image rights, for example, which I think could become a problem. Also, the Olympics in Paris in August, in end of July, beginning of August, that Mbappe really wants to be part of. But that would mean for his new club a lot of things, obviously, in terms of pre-season, friendly matches, getting ready for the new season. All of that. So that's, again, something that they would have to agree on and decide. But really, even if Liverpool is a club that he really likes, for example, right now we know that Real Madrid is his favourite destination. We know that they have the money to sign him, to recruit him, which I'm not really sure right now Liverpool have. So it's not impossible that he ends up somewhere else. But really, Real Madrid is the likeliest of destinations.
Alex, are the Madridistas ready to believe it this time?
Maybe, just maybe. Yeah, look, this feels like another significant step along the path that ends with Mbappe being a Real Madrid player, doesn't it? And it's being viewed as such here in Spain. This is the story that everybody is talking about right now on the late night radio shows. This is the only subject of discussion. Like Jules says, there's also an awareness and recognition that there are a number of further steps that need to be taken before he is officially a Real Madrid player, namely that he accepts this offer from Real Madrid and that they iron out all the small print on some of those issues that Jules was just talking about. But fundamentally, look, if Mbappe wants to come here, and we think that he does, and Real Madrid want him, and we know that they do, all of those little obstacles and details are things that I think can be sorted out along the way. So yes, it's a significant step. Yes, the fans here and everybody here has been burnt in the past. Yes, we've been down this road before multiple times, but this time it feels different, and it's starting to feel increasingly different. And it feels like this time there's going to be a different conclusion to what we saw in 2021 and 2022 and 2023. And this time he is going to end up at the Bernabeu, and that is hugely exciting.
Are you glad to see it almost over, Frank? A decision made?
Yeah. Well, it's about time, and I think it's the right time to make the announcement and to please everybody, especially the Real Madrid, and to relieve maybe some people at Paris Saint-Germain to exactly know where they stand and see for them in the future if they have to hire another striker, for example. So yeah, it's time for us also to know where our fantastic Kylian Mbappe is gonna land, And I'm happy if he goes to Real Madrid. I think it's a time for him after serving very well. And he proved again yesterday that he does the job, that he's professional, but he has the right to just think about himself now. And I'm fine with that.
Let's take a look at a possible 11 for Real Madrid with Kylian Mbappe in it. Here we go, Stevie. Is this a team that's going to dominate La Liga for the next decade?
100%. They're going to dominate this year without him. So how dominant are they going to be with him? Plus they'll get everybody fit. Yeah, I mean, this is bad news for the rest of La Liga. Bad news for everybody else who's got the eyes on the Champions League because, you know, with that 11, there's no question. Even when Man City are around, you've got to look at that side and think that they're going to take some beating.
Is he going to be annoyed about where he's playing if he doesn't get to play where he wants to, positionally wise, Jules?
No, I don't think so. I think he's known now for a long time that with Vini at the club, and even when the team was playing in the 4-3-3 formation, that the left-hand side was Vini's, and rightly so, like the number 7 is Vini's too, and that he would play probably centrally or maybe on the right, like when he first moved to PSG. And there was Neymar and Cavani also playing in that front three. He also knows that the fluidity that a Real Madrid front line could have with Bellingham, with Vinicius, with Rodrigo, with Endrick, all of that, he also knows that. So he's been playing for the last 4 months as a number 9 centrally for PSG under Luis Enrique. So I think he knows the deal. I don't think this could be a problem or an obstacle. And again, like we've been saying, I think even the little negotiations or some bigger ones like image rights, which I think image rights is something very important to Real Madrid as a club, but also to Kylian as an individual. That would be ironed out. And again, similar with his position on the pitch. What I think also took a big part in him deciding to leave PSG to go to Real Madrid, hopefully, is the fact that Carlo Ancelotti pledged his future as well. Because remember 2 years ago, or even last year, we were not sure what Carlo would do. Would he go to Brazil? Would he not? Would he sign a new contract, an extension? Would he not? All of that. Now, Kylian knows that until 2026, at least, Carlo will be there. He loves Carlo Ancelotti. I mean, who doesn't, to be fair? And that also gives him some certainties coming into next season. He knows the players who will be there. He knows that, for example, a player like Alphonso Davies is also on a short list of Real Madrid. So he knows the direction of the club. He knows who's going to be in charge. He knows who are the key players. He knows the system. He knows all of that. And I think, again, that was a big reason why he decided that it was the right time for him to leave PSG to go to Real Madrid.
Yeah, Alex, like Jules is saying, it seems to be the perfect timing if Madrid is his destination for Mbappe.
Yeah, you look at this Real Madrid team, this new young Real Madrid team with Bellingham, Vinicius, Rodrigo, Tchouaméni, Camavinga, Mbappe. Feels like he fits right into that generation, right? All those players I've just mentioned are players between the age of 20 and 24. Mbappe's a little bit older than that, but he really could be a figurehead or one of the figureheads of this new team alongside Bellingham, alongside Vinicius. A couple of things I think it's worth pointing out in terms of where he might fit in. Real Madrid's system, their formations changed a little bit over the course of the season. Over the last few weeks, Ancelotti's been playing with a kind of a front three with Vinicius on one side, Rodrigo on the other, and Bellingham through the middle. And you quite easily see Mbappe fitting into that maybe instead of Rodrigo, and a front three of Bellingham, Vinicius and Mbappe is pretty mouth-watering. The other thing, in terms of Vinicius Jr., because a lot of people, as Jules points out, have flagged up, how would those two players fit into the same team? Ancelotti's been quite clever with Vinicius this season, and he's been trying to, I think, add a bit more variety to Vinicius' game, so he's not just a pure left winger. We've seen Vinicius playing as part of a front two. Ancelotti's talked about how important it is for Vinicius to learn how to move inside, how to play in more reduced spaces, not just be an out-and-out winger. And part of that, of course, is about making Vinicius a better player right now, but part of it might be with one eye to next season as well, and thinking about how you can get the best out of Vinicius and Mbappe in a kind of a fluid and mobile front line, making the most of their pace and also making the most of these players who can, they might want to be on the left or on the right or through the middle, but they're really smart players tactically, and they can work together in terms of switching positions over the course of a game.
I think I particularly got caught up in this. Where's he going to play? Is he going to be the left? Is he going to be through the middle? At the end of the day, they've got so much talent between him and Vinny and Bellingham that it really is going to be a case of, where do we line up before the ball's kicked? Because after that, it's about get them the ball. Go wherever you can get the ball and we'll get it to you and you go do your stuff. I mean, it really is going to be that simple. As I said, I got kind of caught up in this left or centre. I think actually we should just forget about that because those three, every single one of them, arguably is the best in the position right now in the world. And we're asking, where's he going to play on? You know what? Get him the ball, whether it's on the left, the right, up the middle, up the back, it makes no difference. Get him the ball and get Vinny the ball and get Bellingham the ball. And you know what? They'll go and just play. That's what they'll do.
Frank?
I agree with Stevie as long as Carlo Ancelotti doesn't try to also please Rodrigo. If they play at three at the front, you won't allow Jude Bellingham to go forward like he likes to do, in between lines, because he's going to be stuck with Mbappe maybe in the middle. And I think it's kind of compulsory for Carlo Ancelotti to play at two at front if you want to use all the tools from Bellingham. And that's very tricky because what are you going to do if Mbappe and Vinicius Jr. is going to play very well with Bellingham? Rodrigo is never going to play. And you can have problems inside the dressing room. So he will have to manage. Yeah, they have La Liga, they have the Copa del Rey, they have the Champions League. But a player like Rodrigo wants to play the La Liga. He doesn't want only to play the Copa del Rey. So you will have to be psychologically, and I can be sure that Carlo Ancelotti is going to do that. But you cannot think only think about Mbappe and Vinicius. You have to add, for sure, Rodrigo at a certain point. How are you going to manage that? We're going to have the answer next year.
Let's take a look at the PSG angle with it, Jules, if we can, because obviously if this is to be announced officially and everybody knows, we know you love basketball, we know you love The Last Dance. Could this be PSG's version of The Last Dance with the last season with Kylian Mbappe, given that they are fifth favourites in the Champions League?
I would love to. I mean, if you look at the first half yesterday against Real Sociedad, they can't. Definitely not. This was terrible. The second half was a bit better. I guess the thing that could be in their favour is the fact that maybe there'll be less pressure because they are not amongst the top three favourites, let's say. And if they get a little bit of a draw, if they qualify for the quarterfinals, get a bit lucky with the draw, maybe I still think they're short right now, even with the front three of Dembele, Mbappe and Barcola, who I think can score against anyone on their day, but in midfield, defensively, even the goalkeeper, I just don't think, for example, they can compete with City over two legs, even just over the finals. So now I would love it, really, if that was the last dance and if he could bring the trophy to Paris before he leaves, but I don't see it happening.
Frank?
We saw that against Newcastle. We saw that yesterday, especially the first half, and Real Sociedad couldn't get on with pressurizing Paris Saint-Germain like they did in the first half. Every time there is a team who put the pressure, they play higher on the field. Paris Saint-Germain doesn't know how to cope with that. So imagine if they play against Manchester City or Real Madrid and they do the same. They can be trashed because they don't know how to cope with that. Yeah, they have talent at front, but especially in the middle of the park, even if Enrique changed the tactic, put Vitinha more in the middle of the midfielders and changed with Riz, it changed a little bit because Mbappe scored the goal. But before that, and what Real Sociedad did with all injuries and with the team who are struggling right now, you can imagine how bad it can be against a top team. So I don't think they can be named as one of the contenders, sorry.
And no worries at all. Now the even more impossible question. How do PSG replace him, Jules?
That's a good question. I think the good thing about this time, this saga this year, 2 years ago, remember, there was obviously a lot of things happening, but PSG were just not letting it go. They were literally throwing the kitchen sink at him. Let's stay, you stay, we give you this incredible contract that we've discussed many, many times. This time it was not like that. And even Kylian on Tuesday, when he saw the president, he said, please don't make this difficult. Don't try to counter offer with, I don't know, $500 million or what. He said, it's not about the money. This time I've made my decision, please respect it. And the club will respect it. And they're not going to try to offer him more or more something more. It won't happen like that. But what PSG did is, okay, there's a plan A, and Kylian is the plan A. So if he decides to stay, good, this is what we have. We've got him, and then we can build around. However, if he doesn't stay, we've got the plan B. And they drew a short list a while ago with Luis Campos, the sporting director. On that short list, the 3 players that we see on the screen now are there. And you know that even if you want a marquee signing, unless you can try to get Haaland away from City, which is not going to happen, you can't get anybody of the caliber of Kylian right now. So look at Leao, look at Osimhen, maybe Kvaratskhelia as well. We know that, for example, Rafael Leao has a release clause in his new contract at AC Milan for 130 million euros. We also know that Rafael Leao is very close to Luis Campos, who is the PSG sporting director, who brought him to France, to Lille from Sporting Portugal, for Sporting Club de Portugal, sorry. So I think Leao will be probably the one that they try first, but Osimhen, who will also be on the market, could also be an option, even if PSG already have 2 number 9s in Kolo Muani and Gonzalo Ramos. But yeah, they won't find somebody as obviously the level of Mbappe right now, but they will need to find the next big thing, the next one who could get to the level on Mbappe.
Am I taking this? I might be taking this the wrong way, Jules, but you know, the 3 players you put up there, none of them play in the middle of the park and none of them play at the back. You know, Frank's just sat there and talked about how weak they are through the middle. But yet, it's all forwards again. It's all forwards. They've already tried for how long, a decade, buying forwards without taking care of the middle of the park and without taking care of the back line. And are they going to do the same again? Because for a decade it hasn't worked. So for them, they need to think differently. You can't just go and buy forwards and think you're going to win games, scoring more goals than the opposition, because they've tried that and it hasn't worked. They need to have a rethink of how they build the team and build the team from the back forward instead of building the team from the front to the back and actually not taking enough care of the back. It seems like they're doing the same.
No, you're
old,
right.
same old.
You're right. No, you're right, Stevie. And I mean, to be fair, we showed those players because we were thinking like position for position and big star forward for big star forward. I think you're right. I think they will probably sign one player to kind of play in the Mbappe role or Mbappe position, but then they're very much aware that they need to strengthen defensively and in midfield as well, and not just with 2 young Brazilians like Beraldo that they've signed in January, for example. So I think they will have money because, one, as we've mentioned, yes, he leaves as a free agent, but he's waving off bonuses. There's even discussions that some of his signing on fee from Real Madrid could be then given to, some of it could be given to PSG from Mbappe himself, and especially in terms of wage bill and the wages that they're not going to have to pay him anymore, which is enormous. Of course, we're talking around the 75 million euros a year in wages just for Kylian Mbappe himself. So that gives you a lot of options and look and other things that you can be able to do with your money. So you're absolutely right. I think they are aware that you can't just go and sign 2 or 3 more forwards to replace him. There will be one, I suspect, but then they will also strengthen in midfield and defensively.
Jules, we're just looking at some of the press. Obviously, the reaction's all going to be about Mbappe this morning in Spain. That's definitely the case. Adios, Paris. When you think about what he's leaving behind at PSG, and you think about the likes of Kolo Muani, and you think about Dembele, how are they going to be feeling? They've come to this club to play alongside a colleague, a friend, and now him going on. How are they going to be feeling about it?
I mean, this is football, okay? They all know how the game works. This is not a Care Bear world. This is exactly what happens. This is professional football at the highest level. I think everybody knew there was a chance that he would leave at the end of the season. So whoever that is, Dembele, Kolo Muani, Barcola, all of that, who agreed to come last summer, they knew very well, and especially Dembele, who was one of his closest friends, that there was a high possibility that he would leave in this summer 2024. So they know how it works. They've been there before at other clubs. They've been there themselves. You know, Dembele at Barcelona had a lot of friends as well. Everybody was hoping that he would stay. Everybody was thinking he would stay. And then he forced his move to PSG. So this is how it works. They won't be upset or disappointed. Yeah, disappointed because they probably would want to play with their mates. But they know far too well how football works.
Frank, you're smiling.
Well, yeah, because I totally agree with Jules, and it's only when I play for some club that they were very happy to see me going, because as Craig was saying, I was talking too much. but yeah, it's part of our game, and we all know that if we have some friends, and I saw some of them leaving, and I had José Cobos in Strasbourg, and we're very close, and he signed for Paris Saint-Germain, and I was very sad to see him leaving. And when I also signed for Chelsea, I saw some player leaving, and it's part of our game. We are sad, but at the same time we're happy for the guy who leaves and get promoted, which is, I guess, we can say that for Mbappe the case. So it's part of our lives, and we're kind of selfish. I mean, it's a collective sport where individuals matters, and we take care of our lives, our career. We have a plan most of the time, and we try to stick to that plan. And we're going to see our friends later after our career and have a nice dinner together.
Nice stuff. Anyway, guys, we're going to let Jules and Alex go. Alex, get back to that late night Madrid radio. Jules, maybe to cry himself to sleep over the latest news.